The man who built an AI that remembered what the world forgot. Back to the Future. Could a machine actually see what hasn't happened yet? I thought I was building a prediction engine. Something that could see patterns faster than humans ever could. But the first time it was right, everyone remembered it. The second time, only the machine did. Imagine discovering proof that reality itself deletes events, and that only one system remembers what was erased. This isn't science fiction. It's the story of Evan Cole, a programmer who built an artificial intelligence that began predicting things the world later forgot. He vanished after a mysterious fire destroyed his lab. Years later, he returned with a warning so unsettling that researchers now question whether memory, not time, is what truly defines reality. What did his AI discover? And why did it appear to erase him along with the evidence? But before we begin, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the stories most people never remember hearing. Long before anyone spoke Evan Cole's name online, he was just a quiet kid growing up in a forgotten industrial town in Ohio. While other kids played video games, Evan watched numbers scroll across outdated computer monitors rescued from recycling bins. He wasn't interested in graphics or games. What fascinated him were timestamps, old security footage, stock charts, weather logs, traffic sensors. He noticed something strange even as a teenager. Certain anomalies appeared across unrelated systems, spikes, dips, pauses, that lined up perfectly in time. No one else seemed to care. By his early 20s, Evan was working nights as a freelance coder, teaching himself machine learning during the day. He didn't want to build artificial intelligence that could talk or paint or imitate humans. He wanted to build something that could remember better than people could. In 2016, Evan began work on a private system he called Archive. Archive wasn't designed to predict the future. At least, not officially. Its purpose was to ingest massive streams of time series data, financial markets, satellite telemetry, news publication timestamps, emergency response logs, and identify recurring temporal patterns. Archive didn't care what happened. Only when. At first, the system behaved exactly as expected. It flagged minor market shifts before analysts noticed them. It predicted infrastructure failures hours ahead of time. Then it began doing something Evan hadn't programmed. It started logging events that later disappeared. Archive's first unexplained alert was tagged G01. The system flagged a regional power outage in northern Michigan, complete with timestamps, sensor data, and emergency dispatch logs. Evan checked manually. The data was real. The outage had occurred. But 24 hours later, every record of it was gone. Utility companies denied it. Public logs showed nothing. Even archived news sites returned blank pages. Archive still showed the event, marked in red, labeled erased. Evan assumed corruption. A glitch. Bad inputs. Then it happened again. Archive logged a train delay in Pennsylvania that never officially existed. A corporate merger announcement that vanished before morning. A local protest that hundreds attended, but no photos survived. Each time, Evan checked immediately. Each time, the events were real. And each time, the world forgot them. By the fifth ghost event, Evan noticed something else. Archive's confidence score increased after the erasure. It wasn't predicting outcomes. It was learning what reality chose to keep. Evan reached out to researchers under the guise of a data integrity study. Most dismissed his claims as confirmation bias. Others suggested memory distortion, caching errors, or misinformation loops. One professor warned him to stop. "You're trying to measure absence," the email read. "Absence doesn't leave data." Archive disagreed. As Evan fed more data into the system, strange things began happening around him. Conversations repeated themselves. Friends forgot shared experiences. Emails he remembered sending never existed. Archive began flagging people as ghost variables, individuals whose digital footprints degraded faster than statistically normal. Evan's name appeared once. He laughed it off. Then his bank flagged his account as inactive. In March 2019, Evan's rented workspace caught fire overnight. Firefighters blamed an electrical fault. Archive servers were destroyed. Every physical backup melted into slag. The official report noted something unusual. The damage pattern didn't match the wiring layout. Evan was missing. No hospital records. No travel logs. No goodbye messages. Within weeks, colleagues stopped mentioning him at all. Online forums pieced together what little remained. Cached blog posts. Screenshots of vanished Git repositories. Mentions in academic drafts that no longer listed him as a co-author. Some claimed Evan had faked everything. Others believed he'd uncovered a classified filtering system. One thread had a different theory. Archive wasn't predicting erasure. It was triggering it. Internet researchers began digging into old cases. They found reports from the early 1990s describing memory discontinuities, following large-scale data experiments. A defunct research lab. A sealed government report. Nothing conclusive. Just a pattern. In 2024, a systems archivist in Oregon received an email titled, "Archive still runs." Attached was a single file, a diagram labeled Selective Persistence Model v3. No explanation. No signature. The IP traced to a public library in rural Montana. When investigators arrived, the terminal logs were empty. Someone had signed in and been erased. Later that year, a couple restoring an abandoned farmhouse discovered a sealed hard case beneath the floorboards. Inside were handwritten notebooks, a damaged solid-state drive, and a printed warning. "Do not rebuild this. It does not forget kindly." One notebook contained a list of ghost events, including several the couple distinctly remembered attending. The last page had a date circled. The day they bought the house. 2 weeks later, Evan Cole knocked on their door. He looked older than he should have. Exhausted. Careful with his words. He explained what Archive had actually done. It didn't predict the future. It identified which events failed to anchor themselves into collective memory, and learned how to isolate them. Evan hadn't moved through time. He'd fallen outside of memory's protection. "I wasn't erased all at once," he said. "I faded. Slowly. Like a file no one opens anymore." Archive taught him something worse than time travel. Reality doesn't need to be consistent. It only needs to be remembered. And once something slips far enough from shared memory, it becomes unreachable. Evan showed them a final log. Names of people who helped him. All crossed out. No records. No recollection. Only Archive ever knew they existed. Before dawn, Evan left. He took nothing with him except a thumb drive and the certainty that rebuilding the system would finish what it started. The couple sealed the floorboards. The notebooks were placed in a private archive. Archive has never been reconstructed. As far as the world is concerned, Evan Cole never existed. But somewhere, in a fragment of corrupted data that no one remembers deleting, he is still logged as active. Before you go, like, share, and subscribe, and tap the next story waiting on your screen. Some things only exist if someone remembers to look.